Now, in all transparency, this video is not sponsored, but fly, man. Out of here, dude. What's up, everybody? Today, we're looking at a budget-friendly podcast microphone from Fifine, the K688. Is it worth it? Let's find out. Now, this video is not sponsored, but Fifine did send me this podcast microphone to review, but I promise to keep it fully honest and give you my own ideas and opinions. Like every good review video, let's start off with what you get inside the box. So inside the box, you do get the microphone with a shock mount attached to it. Looks like it has a USB-C port, a headphone monitoring port, a gain control, and a headphone monitor control. You also get a USB-C to USB-C cable. It has a USB-A adapter on it, and it looks like it's a couple feet long. So next, this is really nice. They give you a boom arm with this. So typically you have to buy these separately. I had to buy mine separately. It's not the nicest one. It's a little sticky, but they do give you one included in the box. And then also with the boom arm, you get a boom clamp that you can go ahead and attach it to a table or a desktop with. Let's get rid of the box. Now looking at the mic, I do like this windscreen that comes on here. It's real soft. It feels like it's not the thickest, but it looks like it would work just fine. It feels about the same density as a Shure SM7B, but this one's a little bit softer. Also looks like there's a mute mic button on the side of this here. That's pretty nice. In looking at the construction of this, I do like the way that this capsule is set up. It's just like the Shure SM7B, exactly the same thing that we're familiar with. The metal on here is like a cheaper, like aluminum metal. Looks like it's probably going to hold up just fine, but I would be cognizant of like handling noise. This is definitely going to transfer through this microphone. Let's go ahead and set up our boom arm and see how that is in terms of quality. So now that we got the microphone all set up, I do want to say it is a dynamic cardioid microphone, very much like the Shure SM7B. So in terms of proximity, you're going to want to speak to this about 2 to 6 inches away. I know it seems like you're pretty close, but that's how this microphone is going to want to be. It's also going to want to have the gain boosted up pretty high on these microphones. So probably somewhere around 50 to 70, depending on your preamps and whatever type of mixer or console that you're plugging it into. So that being said, I'm not sure what you're going to have to add to this in terms of power with the USB-C adapter. So let's find out together. All right, so now we're using a program called Motive Mix. This is by Shure. So I just got the Fifine microphone plugged in, and I want to see what it sounds like coming through on USB-C. And then we have the gain turned up a little bit on the microphone, and we have plus 20 on this console. So it's not as much gain needed in the software as you need on your mixer, which makes sense because this is a digital file. So this is digital audio coming in here. So you're not going to have turn it up as much. I'm going to go ahead and do the same test with the handling noise and just see if that comes through. And I can see it on the levels that all that stuff is coming through. I can't hear it right now. We're going to record this and listen to it later. So this is a test of the Fifine microphone plugged into Motive Mix on my laptop computer. Another thing I was told is that you could plug this USB-C cable into your phone, record a video, and that video would come through with this audio, or you can use Zoom and use this as your microphone source. I just tried that and didn't work. I'm not sure if there's like a firmware update. Maybe Fifine can comment and let us know if I'm missing something, but as far as I can tell, works on the computer, works on the tablet, does not work on the phone. Now, I'm not sure the exact weight of this microphone, but I did say it's made of like this aluminum metal. It's definitely lighter than a Shure SM7B. I'll put up on the screen exactly what the weight differences are, but it feels like it's about half the weight of the Shure SM7B. I'm not quite sure, but it's a little bit lighter. But with that, like I said, is going to come a lot of handling noise. I'm going to give you a demonstration of that, and I can see this on my meter already. This is definitely going to give you some handling noise. So you're going to want to make sure this is put up somewhere in front of you and you don't touch it too often, because that's going to transfer right on through. Now, before we get into listening to this microphone, let's go over some quick specs about it. It's got a frequency response of 70 hertz to 15 kilohertz. It's got a max SPL of 130 decibels. The manufacturer claims a sensitivity of -58 plus 3 dB, whatever that means. And they say it's got a signal noise ratio of greater than 70 dB, which is pretty good. So I'm curious to see if that's true or not. And when you're connected to USB, it's going to be at 16-bit 44.1 to 48 kilohertz. So for sound comparisons, so far you've been listening to me on a DPA6060 lavalier microphone that's attached right here to my sternum, and that's going to run down to Electrosonics transmitter, running into Electrosonics receiver, going into my Mix Pre 6.2. Now let's get into some sound tests. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my lavalier microphone, and we're just going to listen to the Fifine K688 and see what that sounds like. Okay, so now I've muted my lavalier microphone, and we're only listening to the Fifine K688. And this is exactly where they want you to be, about 2 to 6 inches from the microphone. And let's go ahead and do some sound tests. So first, let's start with the off-axis and on-axis tests. Obviously, this is on-axis. And let's go ahead and just go off-axis and see what that sounds like. Over to the sides, and let's see what that sounds like over to this side. And then we're going to go ahead and get behind the microphone and see what that sounds like back here. Let me know what you think. And now we're listening to the Shure SM7B. Exactly the distance that they want you at, 2 to 6 inches from the microphone. And we're going to do the same test. So we're going to be on axis, and then we're going to get off axis, and then we're going to go ahead and get behind the microphone and see what that sounds like. Right behind the microphone, this is the Shure SM7B. Okay, now we're back onto the K688. So let's go ahead and take a listen to some of this handling noise. I'm just going to touch the sides of the mount. You can really hear it when you get onto the microphone. It's not as bad going through the arm. That's not too bad. But definitely this material on here, everything that you do on this, you can hear come right through here. I'm sure you can hear all that. And even the cable. So just touching the cable. And this is not uncommon with microphones, but I just want to say, like, you know, what you're going to expect when you get this microphone. And this is not uncommon with these type of microphones or any microphone, but I just want to go ahead and demonstrate it to you so you're not, you know, shocked when this happens. Now let's go ahead and listen to some of the handling noise from the Shure SM7B. And I'm touching this microphone everywhere, and there is pretty much no noise. I mean, it's there, but looking at the meters, it's so low that you would never pick this up. Now, if you tap it, obviously you're going to hear it, but okay, this is just a little circle rub. Back onto the K688. Circle rub on the K688. Circle rub on the Shure SM7B. And we're back on the K688. So obviously, you know, there's a big price difference in these. This is a budget-friendly microphone, and this is getting more into the pro podcast. Most podcasters use this microphone, so it doesn't surprise me that this microphone is going to have less handling noise. So this is something I'm not super surprised at. You're paying 1/5 of the price for this microphone versus this microphone. So if you keep that in mind, I mean, and you have this microphone sitting in front of you if you're gaming, streaming, or doing a podcast, you're not gonna have any issues. But if you got to move it around to talk to somebody or let someone share the microphone with you, definitely be aware of that. So that is going to be an issue. So now let's go ahead and do some plosive testing. So we're just going to go ahead and do the Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. And let's go ahead and listen to it on. Whoa. Hang on. So this, I just noticed this here in the plosive test. So if you touch this spring, I'm sure you can hear that. All of that vibration goes right through here, so be very careful about that. So let's get back to the plosive test with the Shure SM7B. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Pickled peppers. And then back to the K688. Picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. I always mess that up. Okay, so now I'm just going to do some readings, and we can listen to both microphones at the same time. We'll switch them back and forth as I go throughout, so that way you can hear each one. So I'll just do the same sentence on each one of them. That way you can hear a side-by-side comparison. The small pup gnawed a hole in the sock. The small pup gnawed a hole in the sock. The fish twisted and turned on the bent hook. The fish twisted and turned on the bent hook. The fish twisted and turned on the bent hook. Press the pants and sew a button on the vest. Press the pants and sew a button on the pants. The swan dive was far short of perfect.
The swan dive was far short of perfect. The beauty of the view stung the young boy. The beauty of the view stunned the young boy. 2 blue fish swam into the tank. 2 blue fish swam into the tank. Her purse was full of useless trash. Her purse was full of useless trash. The colt reared and threw the tall rider. The colt reared and threw the tall rider. It snowed, rained, and hailed the same morning. It snowed, rained, and hailed the same morning. Read the verse out loud for pleasure. Read the verse out loud for pleasure. Okay, so now we're back on the K688. All right, so after listening to this microphone, I do want to say it actually sounds pretty good. Compared to the Shure SM7B, you're going to get a little bit more richer tone out of that, but most people are not going to notice that. So, I mean, you can also use some software and, get this thing EQ'd right, and it's going to be just fine. So, for the price, man, this thing actually sounds pretty good. If you can get past like the handling noise and cheap construction, and you're not going to be moving this thing around, it's a completely fine microphone, especially when it comes in at 1/5 the price of the Shure SM7B. I think the best thing about this microphone is for someone that's just getting into, podcasting, gaming, streaming, or if you want to make some YouTube videos, this thing's like plug and play, man. You just plug an XLR cable or USB-C cable in, and it's ready to go. You don't need phantom power. You don't need a driver, nothing. It's just ready to go right out of the box. So that's really cool that they have a microphone like that. The Shure SM7B, you're going to have phantom power. And this thing is it doesn't come with anything other than just the microphone. So you're going to have to get the stand and all that stuff. So, once you get this microphone going, you're coming in at like probably the $600 range. You get some decent stuff. So, a decent like Mogami cable, it's probably more like $700-800 to get this microphone into a good spot. Plus, you're going to want to have like a mixing console to plug it into, like a Go XLR or something for using on a desktop or mix pre like I'm using.
If you want to use like some good gear, this microphone could be, right up to $1,000 to make all in on this thing. But if you, this is what you do for a living and, you want like that pro sound, that might be the way that you want to go. I also want to say that this microphone doesn't have any drivers or anything. Like I said, plug it in, let her rip, start recording, and start having some fun. So what are the cons of this microphone? Obviously, you got that cheap body construction. You're going to get the handling noise. It's a little bit bulky, with the shock mount on here. It's something I can get over, but it's, I like to tuck my microphone like underneath my computer and then pull it out when I want to use it. This is going to take up a little bit more space, and circumference around this thing with the shock mount, so that's gonna be a problem. It's got a limited frequency range compared to the pro mics, but it's still pretty good. So who's this microphone for? If you're a gamer or a streamer and you're just kind of starting off, you don't want to break the bank, this is definitely like the way to go. Maybe you're thinking about getting a podcast and you don't want to spend thousands of dollars yet. This is like a $60-70 like investment that's going to be just fine. It's going to work for a long time until you want to step up to that next level. So that's kind of who I think this is for. Also, maybe you're doing Zoom calls at home. You don't got to like touch the mic a lot. You just kind of like set it and like you just want to have better sounding better quality audio coming into your Zoom calls or video calls. This would be a great solution for you. I think you're going to be very happy and pleased with the results of this microphone, especially with some of the stuff that you can do if you use like another, software to run the audio through. You're going to love it. So the last point that I want to touch on is, would I actually use this microphone? Personally, probably not. And the reason why is because I already have the Shure SM7B, which is a great microphone. There's very low handling noise. This thing sounds great. It's got great tone, and I'm already set up to use it. I've been using it for a long time, so I'm already comfortable with that microphone. Not there's anything wrong with this microphone in terms of, the sound quality. Just already have something that's already better. I've also invested in thousands of dollars of condenser microphones because I do sound mixing for a living. So I already have better options around personally, but I would recommend this to somebody who's trying to get started in the podcasting, gaming, streaming, or you need something better for your video calls and you don't want to spend a lot of money. So that's where this fits in for people. For me, it's just not going to be something that I'm probably going to pull out. I may use it as a spare if like one of the 6 microphones I have, I need a 7th one or something. So that's probably where this would fit in for me, but happy to have it. And it is a cheaper microphone, so you are going to get a cheaper construction built out of this. But if you're comfortable with that and all you need it for is to get some sound going through, your gaming or whatever, this is going to be a fantastic option for you. You're going to be very happy with it. If you look at it from that perspective, if you're looking for like pro sounding, high quality audio with no handling noise and lots of range on it, you know, you're probably going to want to go with the Shure SM7B or even something bigger than that, so, or better than that. So that's what I will say about it. So just a quick reminder, this video was not sponsored, but Fifine did send me this 688 microphone to review, and I gave you my full, honest, and transparent opinions on this microphone. If you found this video helpful, make sure that you like, subscribe, leave a comment, turn on your notifications. That way the next time I put out a video, you'll get notified of that too. So that's all for today. And always remember, keep making awesome content.